Hello and welcome. I am Jenny Brandon of Soul Pet Connections. I'm an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. This is my friend Tali, and we are going to do a little bit of riding today. So come hang out with us. I had a lesson this past week, and are we gonna poop or are we just chilling? I think we're just chilling. All right. So I work with Kirsten Nelson of Wexford Farm, and you can find her on the web at wexfordfarm.com. And we are adjusting my seat. So I tend to carry tension in my low back and in my shoulders. And so we are working on me slumping to the point where my core engages, my inner thigh engages, which is probably my psoas actually releasing, but it feels like an engagement. So, and Tali is working on her balance and coordination. And so we're working on all this together. It's very interesting that she's chosen to come to the rail because I'm not actually directing her, but that is her choice right now. The goal is simply to stay straight, for her to stay in alignment, spine, all the way from her pole, all the way through her tail. And that is going to allow her to find her balance and coordination. I had to check in with my own body there for a second, and then I lost track of what I was saying, because that's what happens when you're actually in your own skin. So the slumping helps to find that inner thigh. It helps to find the core engagement that you need in order to maintain balance. Now we're actually taking a poop break. Oh my, you are shedding so bad. Yeah, good job. Good job, Mama. All right, ready? Now I gotta find it all over again. Okay, we'll go this way around the jump. So there's a couple points that you'll note, like I am attempting to keep my fingers on her neck, keep the backs of my fingers really against her neck. That is a great way to engage better with what's going on in your seat and your leg. We don't have a scientific answer for why this works, but some of our theories are that it helps you feel more stable because of the fact that you're touching something, and we are very engaged and involved with our hands. My theory is that it is a sort of circuitry kind of connection where we're able to really feel better because we have sort of a looped circuit between our fingers all the way through our arms, through our body, and down into our legs, and then that connects back through the horse. So when we're able to sort of close that circuit, it really helps, more so than just isolating through the hands and then through the body separately, which would be the way it would be through the reins. So that is one really awesome trick for finding your seat better. Where are you in space? Where are you on the horse? And so we are just slumping until we find that engagement of the core activating and that thigh sort of connecting in. And all of that helps stabilize the roll. So you'll see we have our butt tape today, which is a great way to watch the movement of her pelvis. And unfortunately, we're not working a pattern today because it's a really awesome way to see the differences left to right and to compare if they are the same or different. So you, in theory, should not really see a whole lot of movement of the tape. It would look very stable. The challenge is she is a very wobbly horse. She's a Kentucky mountain horse. She's also 25, maybe 26 years old now, and was bred when she was young. She was a brood mare, so she had several babies. And so her body is very unstable because she did not have the practice, particularly when she was young, and the correct support for many years of her life to be able to balance. Ooh, wobble. She has been in training with Kirsten now for probably 15 years or so. Some of that has been more intense than others. She was in training at Kirsten's farm for many years, and then she came back to Maryland, and she sort of didn't get a lot for a little while, and then I began riding her probably 4 or 5 years ago now, I think, maybe even 6. And so she's had once a week exercise for the last 6 years, 5-6 years, and then lessons kind of in between that during the warmer months when Kirsten returns to Maryland from Florida. So this is kind of proof it doesn't take a lot, but that the right work helps. So she used to be a very typical gaited horse that was very wobbly looking, sort of all, looked like she had 8 legs all over the place. And she does not now. Even at a faster speed, she still stays very organized. So this is the tricky part of finding this low back release. Many women, it's very, very common in women to carry too much tension in our low back. And so this is a tricky one to find. I also have left-right body issues, which I think I've talked about in some other videos, that make it even more challenging for me to manage my own body. I am hypermobile jointed, and gaited horses basically are hypermobile jointed too. So you put the two of us together and it's a hot mess. But she is doing very, very well. So I am not having to ask her to go forward much at all. She is actually maintaining this pace. This is her choice, and that's fine. This is the speed she can go and organize and coordinate her body. So that is totally fine. Every now and then we do get a pause. That's all right. So I am still searching in my body to really try and find that full core engagement and that low back release. I wish we had some kind of alert that would tell it oh, hey, you got it. That doesn't exist. We just have to work on listening. And the reality is, if you're not used to listening like this in your body, then you're probably not going to be able to find it because it's extremely subtle. And if you are not really tuned in, that makes it super difficult to find. So I like how steady she is overall. I am not feeling a lot of roll. Are we peeing? Are we thinking about peeing? Oh, there's licking too, so I don't think we're peeing. So she must have kind of made some sort of an adjustment there, or I think you want to pee, but you're not. Are you gonna? Are you gonna? What's going on? No, you want to, but you're gonna give me a couple false starts first, because that's what we do. It would be nice if you faced the camera so the camera didn't have to watch you, but that's okay too. Are you gonna this time? Are you? Nope. So So I think she must be really working on making some changes, because that is a not uncommon pattern for her when she's making her own adjustments, is to kind of park out like she wants to be. She eventually does, but it takes a couple tries. All right, so the interesting thing about doing this way is that it does create more stability, but there are muscles that are underused, and then there's our muscles that are overused, right? My tight low back is overused muscles that really we don't want. We don't want those muscles to be working as hard as they are. It's not helpful to my balance and coordination. It's excess tension, which is what we have to go into when we're creating stability through somewhere that's not really supposed to have stability. Not supposed to be generating stability. Our stability is supposed to come from our spine, and if we're locking up parts of our spine, that means we have instability somewhere else we're compensating for. The same is true of the horses. That's a people thing, that's a horse thing. It's both. I told the pivot it was in the middle, but she does not seem to be interested in exploring the other side of the arena very hard. Are we gonna make it past the middle? Nope. Maybe. Nope. We're turning very slowly. Hi, Bevo. Sorry. Come on. Come with us. There you go. Alrighty. So this is a level of engagement and organization that most of us don't think about on a daily basis. I love my riding sessions because I use my body better than I do when I'm not on a horse. And so that is very helpful for me. But what's really interesting is I'm getting a couple funny aches in some spots, and I actually think it might be muscles letting go. Even that breath right there, like I just sort of involuntarily inhaled. And that can be a response of actually finding the freedom in the coordination to use the body correctly. It's a little bit surprising when it happens, but it's really cool. Like, it tells you you're on the right track, right? It tells you you're getting things right and finding more ease. There's a little bit more length in her neck. She just pulled out the reins just a bit. Kind of went back and forth, but that's all right. Hey, we made it to the other side. So she is really working really here. As am I, as my quills are screaming. So this is really, really good. So while I'm working, I'm thinking back and forth between my seat. Oh, nice, very nice. There's some lift, a little more length in her neck. So I'm thinking about my seat and my legs. I'm thinking about her spine being straight. So I have this image of like a broomstick, sitting on a broomstick, and how straight that feels. And thinking about that feeling coming from her tail all the way through under my seat and forward out the front. And I like to think of sort of sitting on like a corn broom, like that flat part of the broom, almost sitting on it, and that has to be what's stable. So that has to stay level. It's kind of like being on a stand-up paddleboard or in a kayak. When you're sitting in those things or standing, you cannot lean to the low side. And that's what we tend to do on horses, is we tend to follow the low side and then grip on the high side like mad to compensate. And that is not going to be helpful if you were actually on water, right? You'd fall in the water. Very nice. So she's picked up her speed a little bit. And I can tell when I get it really right, because there's a lot of focus that comes from her. I feel the lift into my seat. Like right now, we're getting some really nice lift. And I feel her get steadier, so that, like, thinking about the top of the broom behind me stops wiggling so much. Are we peeing now? Yeah, I think you are, aren't you? Are you, or are you taking another break? I think you're taking another break. All right. So I think she's definitely got some stuff going on today, and some improvements and changes, because this is kind of an old pattern that she used to do, but it always was accompanied by a breakthrough. So it was always accompanied by her really figuring things out again. And there's a nice big lick and chew. And her head down, a nice little neck stretch release before we start moving, as we start moving, which is great. Very nice. So the funny part is, it's like just when you think you've got enough core, that you're doing it all right, you realize there's a whole nother layer of organization and control and coordination that you have to now find. Excellent. I like the head down. I like the little exhale. Yes, very good. Now I felt a little clunk in the neck somewhere. Don't know if that was a shoulder and neck joint or what, but there's a little release there. I'm sorry, my fingers are sticky on the reins today. It's hot. Very nice. So people mistakenly assume that going slow isn't a lot of work. And I would suggest to anyone who says that to walk on a balance beam for an hour. Because